it's kind of fun not having to do like a show where we have to have everything set up. Since it's just us and it's raw and people like this raw stuff, we can just like sit here and work our way through our shit.
We can't make me look bigger.
Well, look what you got over there. You got like 15 cameras on you. I got one camera here for Facebook Live, and you got like this camera, you got that camera, you got that lighting.
I'm just small. I feel as if I should sit on.
You know what you look like? You look like you're in someone's basement.
I feel like we are.
Oh, you are. Yeah. That's right.
But I feel as if I should sit on your lap, and I'm like you be like the ventriloquist. That's what. Look at me.
That ain't gonna happen.
With the Dr. Josh.
I should do that. I should stick.
You'll be Dr. Josh, and you can
stick my own up your ass and have you talk.
No, that's Brian.
All right, welcome to Kurre and Klapow. We're doing every single Thursday morning. Of course, it's a big day for us. We're on from about 8 till 9:15, 9:30, something like that. Then we'll be on Fox 6 this morning. I believe we're talking about cultural differences. This is perfect timing with the cultural thing going on because we're talking about the live golfers, very topical because they'll be playing in the U.S. Open. It starts later on today. Phil Mickelson played a practice round on Tuesday, and the fans at the U.S. Open were standing ovation applauding him. So I don't know what that means because
these are also... There's a little bit of selection bias, right? Because these are fans at the U.S. Open. I mean, they could be booing him, but like,
I mean, you're going to follow. You're not going to follow. I wouldn't think you're going to follow Phil Mickelson to boo him, but I would have supported.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Because there's a lot of golfers that obviously, and I don't. I hope they're not asking golf fans to pick between LIV and the PGA. Great golf is great golf. I get that, but I was pleasantly surprised. Because, I mean, of all this, because a lot of people are saying his legacy is tarnished. Phil's is, Greg, DeChambeau, all these guys, Dustin Johnson. It's a money grab. We got to take care of our families. But the fact that it starts today and the LPGA is not a sanctioning body over the four majors, so the four majors could decide whether they were going to play or not. And because they're already part of those majors, it's really messed up.
Did you like the angle? I mean, from a sports standpoint, I thought the angle that the PGA and the PGA commentators were taking, or maybe it was more the PGA commentators and some of the players. It was less about the social issue and more about essentially, fine, if you want to play easy golf, I mean, that's basically, if you want to play easy golf against the same guys in a easier format, that's fine. Yeah. But the PGA is essentially true competition.
Well, the winner got $4 million in the tournament this past week, which is like 3 times more than you get in the PGA. Don't know what the staying power is. The other thing I think is really interesting is the LIV Golf Tour people in Saudi Arabia trying to poach everybody. They didn't get any of the top 10 players in the PGA. Right. I don't know what that says. But all the best players in the PGA are still in the PGA. They did not go over there. So I don't know what that means, what that says. They got Sergio. They got guys that are. I mean, Phil, by the way, turns 52 today. It's his birthday today.
What's the age to be in the
the seniors?
Yeah,
50. So I mean, Phil's the oldest by far, outside Greg Norman, who's not playing. But so I mean, they went and they poached as many guys as they possibly could. There's a couple of young guys that were like ranked 137th or whatever, went over there and they got like $1 million to go play, which is great money, but maybe it's just a money grab for right now. When it falls apart, they come back and beg the PGA to come back on board. But I mean, again, they didn't get the top 10 players. So anyway, we'll talk about cultural differences and different changes. My biggest cultural thing, you've been across the pond. You've been around this world of ours.
A little bit. Not around the world.
Was there anything that you've seen outside the United States or inside the United States that just really was like, I can't believe they do this here. And it's so worldly and widely accepted in that area of the world you were in. And I'll use an example. I went and saw a bullfight when I was in Barcelona for the Olympics back in 1992, I think it was. I wanted to enjoy their culture. I was trying to eat their food, and I was trying to talk their language, and I was, and no one had bras. There's no air conditioning. There was, it's crazy. I mean, it's sexually charged.
Yes.
It's just, and the bars don't open until 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I was with Herb Winches, and I said, "Would you like to go to a bullfight?" And we wanted, and we both got sick to our stomachs. I mean, it was absolutely disgusting. I'm an animal lover. I do Dark Side of the Pooch on Monday, and it just absolutely turned my stomach to see how they torture these bulls before the matador comes out, the guy with the red cape. And but the fans have been doing it for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. It's part of their culture. It's just like a college football game.
Yeah.
There's 70,000 people. They tailgate all day. It goes off all day Saturday and all day Sunday. They're eating. There's families. It's part of their culture. And to take that away from them would be like taking college football away from people here in the SEC. It would, but they've been doing a lot longer than we have been. So, I mean, who am I, just because I don't culturally accept what they're doing to these bulls, who am I to tell them, hey, listen, this is wrong?
I'll tell you, I mean, I'll go for here because this is the biggest difference. And I have not been all over the world. So I've only been to, a few countries.
Yeah.
And two things I can think of. But one most prominent is gun control. I went to the UK.
Yeah.
There's no guns.
No guns.
There's no guns.
Even the authorities?
Some. And which is even interesting. They have armed and unarmed police officers. Not that they're not all unarmed.
Yeah.
But they definitely have police officers who are not armed, and they put them in different sort of settings. And they have those who are armed. And the reason that I say that it's sort of culturally different is it's hard to explain, but it's just like a non-issue.
Yeah.
Right? So when they look at us, and it's this major issue, for them, that's just the way that it is. Now, they'll be the first to tell you, because when I had the conversation with a couple people, I said, well, what about your fans, your soccer fans? We've seen story after story of people being mugged and trampled, and they say, yeah, we have a lot of knife fights.
Yeah.
There's a lot of knife fights, and there's a lot, and maybe even that's a difference. Maybe that's the difference. If you look at soccer fans in the UK and even across the world, we think our fans are intense.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nothing. So I mean, I think that's it. But I do think, given the topic of conversation right now, I mean, and to me, this is social differences. There are no guns, and that's just a social norm. And I think that's really important, because you can talk about laws and First Amendment and Second Amendment rights and all those sort of things, which are true. But over here, it is an issue, and we have guns, and we're debating about it. And over there, they're not.
And they've been around a lot longer than we have.
Oh, here's the other one. They wear wigs in Parliament.
There you go.
We don't do that.
Well, we do when you start losing your hair.
Well, yeah, that's okay.
All right, we'll talk about that on Fox 6 this morning at 9:35. I pulled up 7 unusual cultures from around the world.
Oh, this is going to be nasty.
That will
You're going to have something about eating and orifices.
We're going to talk about John Hinckley today. He's out.
Really, yes.
He's released. John Hinckley, who shot President Ronald Reagan back in 1981, was found not guilty from reason and insanity, is now a free man. He can do whatever he wants. And he was wanting to do this in July before a sold-out crowd, and they just canceled it. And I'm wondering why.
He played an instrument.
We'll talk about that. Also,
is he a concert?
He wants to play it. He wants to play a concert. And also, I don't get into the Kardashian thing.
I love the Kardashians.
Did you see?
People hate the Kardashians.
Did you see the last episode of season 10, the Kardashians? I thought Keep Up the Kardashians is going. I guess there's another.
No, I saw this thing about
the Kardashians.
I saw the beta blocker thing and passing out with champagne and beta blockers.
So much like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, where it's just like, wow, I cannot believe this is on national television and people watched every single moment of it. The Kardashians, it's great TV because I mean it is just, and she talks to Tristan Thompson last night, who admitted that he had another child out of wedlock with another Khloe, and Khloe goes off on him on the show.
Good.
And I mean, he has to be, I'm assuming he has to be okay with what gets edited. I mean, he knows he's going to get hammered.
I don't know how much what their edit. That is an interesting legal thing. I don't know what their editing rights are. Or their editing and approval rights. I'll bet you I would.
I mean, he looks like a total scumbag piece of shit on the show. And she's been dating him off and on for like the last 6 years. She's just like, I'm done. She's throwing his clothes out. I'm finished. Just tell me the truth. And then she said this, and I'll tell you exactly what she said. I thought it was really interesting.
Do you know what I watched just quickly last night?
Yeah.
Real Housewives of Dubai.
Oh.
Serious?
Of Dubai?
Of Dubai.
Really?
Yes.
There's such a show?
I'm flipping it. I'm used to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Utah and Orange County, and I stopped on it.
Yeah.
Jules wouldn't let me finish it.
Also, some different news, some birthdays. Beverly Hills man has admitted paying $13,000 in Bitcoin in a murder for a hire plot that was foiled. Would you accept Bitcoin right now as payment?
Not right now.
And Rod Stewart kicked off his 2022 tour last
Is it
night.
his birthday? No?
No, he kicked off his 2022 tour last night at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, see, that's so perfect.
Cheap Trick opened up.
For Rod Stewart at the Hollywood Bowl?
At the Hollywood
I
Bowl.
wonder if my friends went, that's awesome.
And he said, "This is my last hoorah for playing my old music." He said, "This is it." He said, "I do not want to be playing Hot Legs when I'm 80 years old." He said, "This is my last tour. I'm going to be playing all my old Rod Stewart
Okay,
stuff.
so he's not doing...
And then after that, I'm going all storybook." He goes, I'm into the big band stuff right
Yeah.
now. He goes, "It's a new...
He loves that.
It's authentic to who I am. I love that stuff. And so if you want to see me play You Wear It Well, or Do You Think I'm Sexy, this is the tour for you, because after that, I'm done." He did do a version of Hot Stuff from Donna Summer. He also played Addicted to Love from his good friend, of course, Robert Palmer, who actually did Some Guys Have All the Luck, was a song that he actually wrote for him. And he also did Blondie's Call Me.
You know, good for Rod, and I'll tell you why. I was just thinking about it. I think about this quickly as you're talking. Most of the bands, even the ones who are individually the performers who pivot, they play their old stuff, then they take you and they play your new stuff, and particularly like the Stones, they're gonna play their stuff.
Yeah.
But Rod's what? Is he almost 80?
He's
He's close to it. I mean, fans may not, but I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play stuff that I want to play now. This is what I am.
I'm totally
Come
cool with
see me. Come see me on for this. And I've played this for 60 freaking years, and I'm done.
I like the fact that he's telling people too. If you want
And
to
he's
see
been
those stuff.
successful. He has been successful, relatively, in this big band thing that he loves. And why not?
Yeah. And that he's like, "I'm not retiring. I'm just retiring that music, and I'm still going to go." It's a lot like Robert Plant.
Yeah, that's true.
If you go to see Robert Plant right now with Alison Krauss, you ain't going to hear "Stay With Heaven." If you think maybe he's going to play a couple of his solo songs, he doesn't play. It's all bluegrass, so you're going to be shocked. I remember the last time I saw Warren Zevon down at Workplay. You go to workplay.com, and or Todd Rundgren. And that was years ago, and they're like, "I'm not playing that sappy, slow crap. If you came to hear Hello, It's Me, you're not going to be happy tonight."
Like,
and some bands weren't happy.
Just one. Come on,
they
man.
can play whatever they want. Yeah. Some of those. But, like, Warren Zevon would never play Werewolves of London, which was his biggest song.
See, and then you got the Stones, or you got, like, Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett's, I don't know when his last new album was.
Yeah.
But he just rotates through all that stuff, and he's, by the way, they're opening a Margaritaville. It's called Latitude. It's a retirement home down.
A retirement home.
Well, it's, he's opening these things up. They're Margaritavilles. He's got them all over Florida. It's for 50, 55 and older.
There was one on Jurassic Park.
Okay, well, he's got one right down from us on the Gulf in Watersound.
I stayed at the Margaritaville Hotel.
No, but he's gone beyond that. Now it is you can live in Margaritaville.
There you go.
Not just the hotel. That guy, I know you told me he was not very nice to you, which crushed my dreams.
Yeah.
But
right.
yeah, man, he's an amazing
He
marketer.
is building a utopian. That's a great idea for a retirement home.
Yeah, and it's like serious. It's like parties and it is Margaritaville for 55 and older. I told Jules, I said, I'm there.
I bet it's expensive. Today, Tupac would have been 51.
That's it.
Yeah. We mentioned Phil Mickelson turns 52. Getting ready to tee off in the U.S. Open. And also today, and this is funny because this has been going on since 2006, today is Dump the Pump Day. This is the day where all Americans are supposed to start taking public transportation or ride your bikes. Dump the pump. Don't pump gas today. I said that's not going to be difficult to do.
That's another thing. You asked about sort of cultural differences, and we have spots of it. Mm-hmm. But man, they love, over in the UK, they love to look at us and like, how do y'all get around? We drive cars.
There you go.
There's no public transportation.
Yeah, I do. All right, so I want to get in this Kardashian thing real quick. I usually don't watch the show, and I watched a little bit of it last night. Khloe Kardashian's family has found out that her now ex-boyfriend, on again, off again, Tristan Thompson, he's still
I was going to ask, is he still playing?
He's still playing, right?
Somewhere?
Fathered a third child with Houston-based personal trainer Marley Nichols. Kim was the first in the family to discover the report in December that revealed Thompson's admitted in court papers to following a child with Nichols. So Khloe put the father of her 4-year-old daughter, True, on blast, telling Kim before a photo shoot, wear a condom, get a vasectomy, or don't F random people.
Wait, who said that?
Khloe did.
Khloe did, yes.
She admitted that she's done with Thompson, even packing up his clothes. He had her dream home that it recently was completed. Khloe's sisters also chimed in at will, with Kendall Jenner stating she feels like Tristan has actually betrayed the entire family. The revelation took place and took a toll on Khloe's physical well-being as well. I mean, she's actually fainted, she's lost weight, she doesn't feel well, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah. Okay, here we go.
See, you talk about cultural changes and cultural differences. The whole Nick Cannon thing to me.
Yeah, I know.
And by the way, I think he just had his ninth child.
He did. Yeah, he did.
He had his. This tells you how effed up this is. He had his 9th child before his 8th child was born.
What?
So the woman that was going to have his 8th child has not given birth yet, and somehow he gave birth to a 9th child that we didn't even know about.
Must have come early.
Or it could have been 7 or 8 or 9. I can't keep track anymore. And I'm going.
Yeah, that's just like.
And of course, he makes light of it. He's got his own show. It's on during the middle of the day. It got canceled, by the way. This is the last year for it. And he makes light of it. And I don't know how many different women he's fathered women or fathered children with 5 or 6 different women. I'm not sure how many Tristan. I believe this is his 7th child from. I don't know. I can't say because someone will correct me. That's a bad look.
Yes, it is.
And the fact that he's willing to go on the Kardashians and be berated for it, and the fact that Nick Cannon has got a condom machine on his TV show as a joke.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm thinking, what's wrong with these women?
Yeah.
Okay, I talked about my Def Leppard experience. I've talked about how women, they get around rock and rollers, and it's on. It doesn't matter whether they've been married for 50 years, 25 years, happily married, have kids, family, teachers, lawyers, whatever. It's just like it's a bucket list, or this guy's on my list of people that if I ever get the opportunity, I saw it firsthand. I kind of understand that. But knowing, if you're a good-looking gal and you're hanging out with Tristan Thompson, he's going to try to sleep with you. I mean, that's what it appears to be. And now I'm stupid enough to not go back and see the Motley Crue documentary, the Rolling Stones documentary, or the Bobby Brown. I mean, they hit everything. They hit everything that moved. I don't know if they were wearing condoms while they were doing it. I don't know if they just left before they could find their phone. I don't know what the situation. So I'm not. This is not anything new.
I said Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan, yeah.
Got hundreds of kids.
Yeah, well, I kind of get it with him because he's an ugly son of a gun, and so any chance Bob gets a chance to get laid, you have to give it up to Bob.
Terrible.
That's terrible. But now we're kind of like, is this a cultural thing?
No,
where this is okay?
It's not.
And I realize because I know there are lots of guys out there that are broke who have got 4 different kids from 4 different mothers that don't pay alimony, and you can't find them. I understand there's that too. But this seems to be like a celebrity. Well, as long as he can pay for the babies and he's giving them alimony or he's giving them child support and he can provide for them, I guess. But how in the world can a dude that's in the NBA provide and care for 7 different children?
We can. I mean, you got financial. I mean, what I think is interesting is
being engaged with their child. I mean, being there.
That's exactly well. So that's what I think is interesting is it's taken. Well, let me say this: who condones this? You always, my whole thing is acceptance is societal determined. It's cultural norms. It's what we collectively meaning more people than not, say is okay. So what's interesting to me about this one, and it's always been interesting to me about this one, if you try to twist it as much as you possibly can to be as generous in the interpretation as you can, maybe even as biological, it's about, you always talk about this, extending your genes and like all of that, showing your manhood. I cannot wrap my head around where the okay is. Like where it could possibly be seen either on someone like Nick Cannon or the woman. Where is it okay? Like, I'm not even talking from a biblical standpoint. Like, what are you thinking that I'll maybe, I'm going to sleep with someone, they may or may not get pregnant, because I'm not sleeping with someone to get them pregnant. I'm making an assumption for Nick Cannon.
Assuming, yeah.
I'm assuming.
And for Tristan.
Okay, for Tristan. Now, I'm not doing it to get them pregnant, but I am not an idiot. I know that they could get pregnant, and I do wonder if they get pregnant, I have money, I will, not even to support them to go away, I will support that child, and that's how I will care for them. I mean, I'm trying to do this in the most twisted way I can. I don't understand that. I cannot understand. And then if you're on the woman's side, I mean, let's just say this. You said you're going to sleep with someone because they're a superstar. Okay? If you're not on birth control and they're not wearing a condom, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? I'll get lucky? I mean, I guess that's
what we used to do a long time ago. Yeah, but I mean, it's just. Yeah, I mean, we know that he's got the stuff, obviously, and maybe he's had sex 1,000 times and he's only had 7 babies. I don't know,
right?
But it makes me wonder about these women that are sleeping with these guys, because great guy. I mean, Tristan Thompson. This guy screwed up so many times in front of Khloe, and she still held on him. I don't know what.
Well, okay, if we're gonna go there,
maybe it's like
this. Now, listen. That's to me also a little bit different. The Tristan Thompson one is slightly different because it's this one relationship and then he keeps straying from this relationship, versus Nick Cannon, who seems to be just sleeping around. So he's in a relationship with Khloe. Yeah.
It's not like you don't know what he's going to go after. If you're a good-looking gal and you get hot and heavy with Nick Cannon or Tristan Thompson, you're going to end up having sex with him. And I have to, again, maybe these women are like,
what?
It's a money grab. Great,
well,
great. I'm going to have Tristan Thompson's baby, and I'm going to be provided for, and I'll have child support. And this gal that he's evidently had this child with, she's a fitness guru. She's got her own thing going on. She's some kind of like, what are you doing?
I mean, the other is
a maternal thing.
I want to have a baby. There are a lot. We talk about artificial insemination. We talk about women who want to have babies and don't want to be married. Right? So surrogates and artificial insemination and all of that, there are definitely a group of women who say, I want a child, but there is no man that I'm in love with, or someone who's lesbian. Right? So there are models for that, but that's not this.
Yeah.
That's not this. And the Khloe thing, I do think is interesting. I mean, you can slam on the Kardashians all you want. I never do that because whether it's Kardashian or anyone else, the storylines are the same damn storylines that we live with. Mm-hmm. You can say, well, that's the Kardashians and they're crazy. Listen, there are a lot of women for whom they stay with a man cheats on them more than once, and they're still in the relationship. Even take it to its extreme. We've talked about this before. In an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
You can say that cheating is abuse, but we've talked about physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and in the case of Tristan, he has betrayed her so many times that you do wonder, and it makes me as a psychologist say, okay, what's going on with you, Khloe? What's going on with you? Is it a feeling of, is it love? Do you love him? Because we've seen, how many stories have we seen where women know that their guy is cheating? They may even be married. He's been cheating for years. Mm-hmm. We've seen back in the day he has a whole nother family.
Yeah.
But I love him, and he's good to me. I'm going to tell you that takes a psychological twist on your part that is so strong and so compensating to be able to say it's okay for somebody else to go betray me, have another family, live with somebody, or have sex with somebody, have another father, and I'm going to still accept them. That tells me that you as an individual are just struggling to find your own strength. And if it's a marriage, then you are making a choice, and we see a lot of women make a choice, not in an abusive relationship. We see a lot of women make a choice to say, look, I want this lifestyle. Not this lifestyle. No, I've made a choice.
There's the whole, you were talking about, Housewives of Dubai. There was a whole show on NBA Wives.
Yes.
Where a lot of NBA wives were just going out with guys, let them make their money, and they leave them.
Well, and that's I would say that's more extreme, right?
Yeah.
But think about how many stories we know from JFK. I was just from Kenny, but how many stories we know from we hear it about typically the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Husband, sales guy, on the road, turns out he's been happily married, or at least, yeah, he's happily married. He's got kids and a family, and then they find out he's got another kids and family.
Yeah.
And he's not just sleeping around, he's literally in some crazy way.
Could it be that you know, we always talk about the coffee spoon divorce?
Mm-hmm.
Could it be that the things that do get on our nerves, that we are willing to put up with, that we tolerate from our mates, maybe that crosses over into something that for us would be a deal breaker or a betrayal, but for them it's like, okay. Because I mean, you know, you see a lot of women go, yeah, he cheated on me, but I don't want to disrupt my entire life. And it may be because of the kids. I don't want to disrupt and so I'm willing to put up with it. And our relationship's certainly different than it was when we first met, but I'm willing to put up with it after he repeatedly continues to do this. She just basically is the point where just tell me the truth. Tell me what's going on so at least I know where we stand.
Yeah.
And obviously he hasn't told her anything and he keeps toying around and yet he's still on the show.
Yeah, that's a little weird. But I do think, here's the other part I think is interesting. A lot of times you will see marriages where she is, you know, and you never want this one. I mean, I make this recommendation. I know a lot of psychologists will make this recommendation. Much as we're supposed to, you know, sort of be neutral. Mm-hmm. If you're in a marriage, particularly for the woman, if he is earning all the income, we are very careful about saying, you better be ready to be on your own.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of women who stay in a relationship because they will say, I don't have a way to make my own living in a way that I'm living right now.
Yeah.
Well,
Khloe's not in that situation.
No, Khloe's not in that situation. And Khloe's youngish.
And super hot and attractive and
rich.
And rich, and it's like
But that's because psychologically, that is the I'm still connected to you. I'm still connected to you. And you made a good point. Sometimes even betrayal is not enough to feel like I can disconnect.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's abandonment issues, you know, abandonment with their dads and like all that kind of stuff. It's also a lot of wishful thinking. Maybe it's going to be this time.
Maybe it's going to change. I mean, we were, Ozzy got out of the hospital, was it yesterday or the day before? And it looks like his surgery, his life-changing surgery was good. He actually stood up to get into the Suburban he got into.
Good.
You go back and look at his documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, he was drilling everything that moved. He was snorting everything that moved. And Sharon, he tried to kill her. He tried to kill her.
Yeah.
He said, you must die.
That's not,
and they're getting ready to celebrate
But
their,
you know what?
This
is, to me, that one, I'm speculating, but that one plays along the, Sharon, you've twisted yourself psychologically.
Yeah.
Into such a pretzel that you have figured out how to be okay with that. That's not, there's no okay.
Yeah.
There's no okay. I mean, I'm right. I'm always the first to cultural norms. It doesn't matter, or, you know, but that's not okay. Somebody who betrays you over and over and over again and then threatens to kill you. I can understand in the moment why you don't leave the relationship. This happens all the time in physically abusive relationships. But somebody who is constantly betraying you, sleeping with other people, in one or more cases has threatened your life, you don't live a happy marriage later.
Yeah.
Like, you don't.
Yeah.
You become so damaged psychologically that you figure out how to compensate and be in that marriage and tell yourself you're happy, and you may believe it, but I'm going to be the first one to say you are messed up. You have been traumatized so much that you have figured out a way to stay in this and say you're happy.
Yeah, and a lot of times we stay in things that
Yes.
are not necessarily comfortable,
Yeah.
but we still control without having to shake the bird cage and have everything in our life that we know
Yes.
is normal be different now. And I mean, sometimes, and that's why a lot of people stay in relationships.
I'm with you, and I'm okay with that. I mean,
I understand that.
When it gets to an Osborne place, when it gets to a physical abuse place,
Yeah, sure.
there are ones where you have to ask yourself, or somebody needs to ask you. It doesn't matter how good of a person they are.
Yeah.
Because if they're doing these things, if they're betraying you in any way, then even if they are a good person, then they need to become a better person.
Yeah.
it is not your job to be there with them when they become.
To your point too, I think a lot of people think that you just hold on and wait and hang out until it changes. And,
yeah, absolutely.
In a lot of cases, it changes because they get just too damn old to chase it anymore.
Well,
like Ozzy Osbourne, he's 73 years old. He finally stopped, having sex in his 50s. But I mean, it could be one of those situations where he'll change. It's just going to take some time, and he just needs to work.
But she waited from the time. I mean, I get that, but like literally, she waited till he was completely incapacitated.
I bet she doesn't sleep with him without a condom.
I
bet you Khloe's probably been with.
Oh, Khloe. I thought
Tristan
they were talking about Sharon and Ozzy.
I bet she's probably like. Can you imagine Ozzy trying to put a condom on?
He can't. I don't think he can have sex.
Oh, he still has it.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, that's probably one of the reasons he had his neck surgery.
So he can have sex?
I don't know, man. I just, maybe this is. I know there's different cultures. We see it in cults all the time. Where the cult leaders got to make love to every girl in the group.
Because it's part of it, right? Yeah.
It's absolutely sick.
And you know what's so sick about that? It's always that. Or, not always, frequently that. There is always some sort of tie-in to the cults where you must make love to the cult leader. Yeah. It's almost in the sickest of ways. It's like the cult leader, who is usually male, has made it's like a movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a cult. And I've got all these parts of the cult. And one of them will be, you must sleep with me.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's not, it's
a power move.
It's eventual, too. It's one of those things where you bring them in for this movement.
Yes.
You feel really good about it, and then things start to change a little bit. I was watching, the Shatner Friday night thing on the History Channel, and they did a whole show on cults. And they talked to people that were in these cults, and they didn't even know what was going on. I didn't think for a minute that this was, and next thing you know, it was kind of, and one guy came in, it was like a business thing where he was supposed to go in, he was a lawyer, he had his master's, he goes in this thing to take these classes, and then they had like free time where they were playing volleyball, and he realized that every woman that came on the volleyball court had to kiss the leader on the lips before they started playing. He's like, that's kind of strange. That red flag, that's kind of weird. And next thing you know, he's branding these women, branding them with actual branding irons, right above. And I'm like, and there's these women showing where they had been branded. Like, I can't believe I was subjected to this type of thing, but I just was totally oblivious because people. And you can make this argument to a little bit in what's going on in our politics right now, how people get brainwashed because they don't.
Somebody
know,
did not like what you just said.
They don't know where they are, and they just want to follow. They need something to.
Well, they want validation, right? We all want to feel that there's sort of a collective human thing, which is number one, we want to feel safe and secure. We don't want uncertainty.
Yeah.
This is from politics to religion to the television shows we watch. Mm-hmm. We want, and I will say this: it's a universal human issue about uncertainty.
Yeah.
We do not like uncertainty as humans, but I will tell you, in different cultures, it's accepted more.
Yeah.
It is not accepted in our culture.
No.
In our Western culture, if there is uncertainty, damn it, I'm going to figure out how to make it certain.
Yeah.
I'm either going to go and make money so I can buy my certainty. I'm going to watch shows that make me feel certain. I'm going to go into relationships that are validating despite maybe being super not good for me. I'm going to take jobs that terrible jobs that at least they're certain, right?
Yep.
I'm going to do that. But I will tell you that is how cult-like followings start. Mm-hmm. We are offering you support, validation, and certainty.
There you go. Talk about one of our great sponsors. I want to talk about John Hinckley.
Oh, I was going to talk about
John Hinckley in concert.
I want to talk about John Gray.
For Rod Stewart.
John Gray. So I called him the other day, and I was like, "Oh dear God, I'm not in crypto, but I was like, oh my God, the inflation."
Who would have thought yesterday with the markets going up after they just rated 3/4 of
Yeah, I know, and that's exactly why I called John Gray. John Gray from Jisco Gray Financial Advisor. He's my financial advisor. He's Tony's financial advisor. He is advising people all over the Southeast, all over the country. The greatest thing about John Gray, you can go to his webpage, driscollgray.com, is that he will shoot straight with you, and he will not just talk to you about investing in mutual funds and the market. He will look at your whole situation in life, your debt, your kids, savings, whether your relationship is good or bad, and then he helps you make those decisions. And ultimately, that is the smartest thing you can do. Go to his webpage, driscollgray.com.
Don't forget Blues Almighty later on tonight. Runs at noon and 8 right here on the Tony Curry Radio app. We're on Facebook right now, but you can check out the Tony Curry Radio app. It's a great show. It's a great blues show. Reached out to Damon Johnson, who's been super busy with Leonard Skinner, getting ready for his Brother King thing next year. We're hoping to catch back up with him the next couple of weeks and find out what's going on. He's got a show. And, of course, you go to Spotify, search Tony Curry Radio Spotify. It's free, no subscription, nothing. Just search Spotify. Get on there, get the app, and listen to all the Tony Curry Radio podcasts. It's great. It's super. You'll love it. We did a great Live Wire Wednesday last night, man. It was killer. Brought to you by Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2820. So John Hinckley, who's a 67, opened fire on Ronnie Reagan batch on March 30th, 1981 outside the Hilton.
Did you just call him Ronnie?
Yeah, Ronnie Reagan. He did recover from his injuries. Remember James Brady, they said he died, but he did not.
Yeah.
And also Thomas Delonte, a Secret Service guy, suffered nerve damage and is still in a wheelchair. So anyway, so John Hinckley's been up for parole several times, and now he is a free man. He's been out for a while,
with
but supervision, and so now he is absolutely out, and he has no supervision, and he can live his life. We live in a redemptive society. It's been 41 years since the shooting. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity at the time, and so he's a free man. Any problems with that?
No.
Paid his debt to society.
I mean, it's not, and it's more than, in his case, uniquely or whatever. I mean, he was found guilty by reason of insanity. His psychiatric treatment over 42 years has been intense. You know, this is one of those ones where you can't apply it to every case, but this is one of those ones where found guilty by reason of insanity, and when we have that, then what we're supposed to do is provide psychiatric care to see if that psychiatric care can help, if you will, reestablish sanity. That's the idea behind it.
Yeah.
In some cases, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And they don't get out.
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, over time, they demonstrate that they are able to remain sane.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you know, this is not, I'll say this, 40 years, it's also not 40 years like you were locked up in a psychiatric house for 40 years and then they just opened the door.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of testing and then weekend or day trips, supervised day trips, weekends, weeks, you know, they have, and at this point, all of the people providing care are essentially saying there is no reason for us to believe that he is not as sane as anybody else.
So John Hinckley evidently plays guitar, and
geez.
he was going to play a concert in July at a place called the Market Hotel. The Market Hotel came out with a statement yesterday and said, after a lot of serious consideration, we are canceling the scheduled event at Market Hotel with John Hinckley. This event came to Market Hotel through a third-party promoter, and we approved it because it sounded like an interesting gathering and a memorable night. Hosting provocative happenings for its sake is valid and should be part of any venue's reason to exist. The tour also sends a message that mental health issues and a criminal past can be recovered from and atoned for after serving one's debt to society and getting real treatment. There was a time when a place could host a thing like this, maybe a little offensive, and the reaction would be, it's just a guy playing a shoe who doesn't hurt. It's a free country. We aren't living in that kind of free country anymore, for better or for worse. It's worth reiterating that this guy is performing harms no one in any particular way. This is sexagenarian. Is that right? Sexagenarian. Sexagenarian.
He's 60. Sorry.
Yeah. With an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
All the outrage and concern are entirely about the quote message it sends, unquote. Make no mistake, canceling this concert will not deter future assassins. It will have no effect on mass shootings, and it certainly won't reverse the awfulness of what Hinckley did 40 years ago.
Right.
It's also ludicrous to claim allowing the show might inspire some future killer. I want to be like Hinckley. He got to play Market Hotel. We're a little room, and it's just a concert. It does not matter beyond the strong emotions it has used or has been used to stoke. We do believe that ex-cons and people with mental illness can recover, and that we should want them to maintain hope that they can better themselves and earn a chance to fully rejoin society. But we are living in dangerous times. And after being presented with reflecting on some very real and worsening threats and hate facing our vulnerable communities, our family here in nightlife, and others seeing the nature of who this booking has antagonized, and who and what else these same folks are upset about, we don't see the need to allow someone who did something awful to skip line and play even our middle-sized independent community stage, and in doing so, put our vulnerable communities at risk without their consent, especially if that artist wouldn't have sold any tickets about the story of who they are and the violent thing they did.
That's an interesting.
A lot of people are buying tickets because they want to see John Hinckley play a concert.
That's a lot. That last statement is fascinating.
If we were going to host an event for the principal and potentially put others at risk in doing so, it shouldn't be for some stunt booking. No offense to the artist. We might feel differently if we believe the music was important, transcend the infamy, but that's not the case here.
So that's saying that he doesn't play very good?
Though any artist can get there, even someone who committed awful crimes and suffered mental illness. It is not worth a gamble on the safety of our vulnerable communities to give a guy a microphone and a paycheck from his art who hasn't had to earn it, who we don't care about on an artistic level. And
well, they're going back and forth.
I mean, this thing was like, dude.
Like, what is it? Well, huh?
Yeah.
That's a beautifully politically sound.
The show's sold out, and I don't know how big the. I'm not sure what. And again, he just got out early this week, so I'm not sure if.
If he just got out this week, like, what is he like? I've been waiting, so I'm.
Evidently, he's a pretty decent guitar player.
Okay.
And John Hinckley can sell out the Market Hotel. So I mean, this is going to be. Someone's going to take a shot with him, right?
Absolutely. Excuse the pun.
Can you name any other outside John Wilkes Booth? Yeah, I know, right? Outside John Wilkes Booth, can you name any other people that were assassins of presidents? I mean, John Hinckley that's just that name.
Yeah, no. So I mean, it'd be like, well, it'd be even worse, but it'd be like Manson, who's. What's real interesting is, what if he was an amazing musician?
Yeah.
Like, let's say, I mean, I don't know if he is or not, but what if he was like really good?
Yeah.
Like really, really good. And he'd been playing in prison and in the hospital and recording things.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? That last statement was really...
I knew you'd like that.
The last statement was really interesting, but you know, you can almost use... Well, so the last statement is interesting because what it says is the only reason or the primary reason that people are coming to see him is because he's infamous. Right? Because of what he's done. So...
What does that say about us as a society?
Well, yeah, I mean, what about, you know, musicians who've been in jail? And they're not great, but they're, you know, they've got...
Well, you normally go to a concert because you love the person's music. I don't know if John Hinckley's
I guess
released any music. You go because you enjoy the music they play.
That's true.
To go to see Charles Manson or John Hinckley or John Wilkes Booth or whoever else just play because the only reason you're going to see them is because they shot at the president. What does that say about us? And it's sold out.
Well, what it says about us is it's rubbernecking.
We're freaks?
Yes,
yeah.
We're rubbernecking.
Yeah.
This is us looking at the traffic wreck.
Yeah. I
want to see what it looks like. I want to see who he is. I mean, do I fault us for doing that? No. Would I go? Yeah. I was alive when Reagan was shot.
Yeah.
I would go because that's the only way I'm going to get to see him.
Yeah.
Why do I want to see him? I want to see the person who shot Reagan.
Yeah.
Why do I want to do that? I don't know.
I wonder how many people would go just for the first few minutes and then leave.
Well, yeah. Well, unless he's good.
Unless he's good.
What if he's really good?
He's had 41 years. Maybe he's
got a killer voice, got voice lessons. It's a really interesting thing because, you know, again, that article, their statement was like boom, 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 like here. But, you know, okay, you pay your debt to society. You pay your debt to society and you can sing. Why should we tell you you can't sing?
I wonder if he'd say anything about what he's been through.
No.
I mean,
he's got
to be one
I mean,
of
hell,
those
he could go on tour.
Assassins.
He could literally go on one of those, you know, like, not Broadway tours where he goes around and he talks about his story.
The age of 67, too.
He's not that young. Old. He's not that old.
He's got some life left in him.
12 years.
I'm betting you're going to see him on Dateline, or you're going to see him.
He'll do every interview.
Yeah, he's going to be all over the place.
Maybe he'll try to play the guitar during the interview.
I don't know. I never knew him to be musically inclined, so I was kind of like, John Hinckley in concert? It's interesting.
Who's his backup band?
It looks like just him and acoustic guitar. Someone will pick this up.
Of course.
Someone will play him. But again, I mean,
you're right. What does it say about our society? Well, it's like bullfighting.
Yeah.
We want to see things. This is a great example of us. we want to see things that we don't want to see. We are compelled. You know me, I always do this. This is why do we look at traffic accidents? Why do we peer over the edge of a cliff? Why do we want to see the murder or the things that we know that we're not going to like?
Faces of death.
Faces of death. Why?
Yeah.
Because we are hardwired to walk right up to those things that we know in our DNA are dangerous for us. And again, it is like, and I'll bring it all the way back, it is why when you walk to the edge of a cliff of any sort, you don't want to be there. You have that feeling you don't want to, but you're doing this, right? You're looking over. Because you are designed to approach danger so that you learn to not approach danger. We want to see a murderer because we know that, or a potential assassin, because we know down here that is dangerous, that is something that could harm us, and I'm talking at an evolutionary level. I'm not talking about at a conscious level. So we're drawn to it. The car accident, we want to see it. We don't even know why we want to see it. The reason we want to see it is designed in us to look at those things so that we can look away, be scared, and know that is something that we don't want to be a part of. We are drawn to that for just that reason. It's in our freaking DNA.
Hey, by the way, coming up here in just a couple hours, we're going to be talking to our good friend Stewart Rome. We're going to be doing Winter Rome with Stewart Rome today.
Okay.
We're going to be recording the show, and we'll be doing it for next week. But Father's Day is coming up on Sunday.
You doing dad stuff?
On the 19th. Yeah, he's going to have special things for Father's Day. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. 905-7676, 905-7676. Ladies, if he took care of you on Mother's Day, then you should take care of Dad on Father's Day.
Absolutely.
They have this great thing where you buy 5 packages and you get 6 for the price of 5.
And that 6 is like a couple $100.
Yeah, big time. So if you end up getting like 5 massages, you're getting 6 massages. And for you ladies out there, you can go buy your one for your old man and then take your friends and go use those, and they're transferable. They don't expire, so you can use them whenever you want. So they get some great stuff. They're going to have craft beers for the guys, some special things for the fathers on Father's Day coming up. They got some really big, interesting things going to be happening at the Woodhouse Day Spa. So check it out, birmingham.spas.com, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, and navigate their entire site. It's fantastic, super easy, and you can get your daddy something for Father's Day, which comes up on Sunday. You got anything special going for Father's Day? No,
both my kids are gone. I hope they call me.
Yeah.
No, my kids, this is our first year. Mother's Day, we had Mother's Day and Jules was alone.
Yeah.
Because I was gone. And it was actually very interesting in that, we all felt guilty. All 3 of us were like, oh my God, we just realized that no one's going to be there for him. And Jules was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. Like, it is the greatest gift y'all can give me is to go away. And Father's Day is, for this year for me, Jules like, what do you want for Father's Day? I'm like, you're my wife, not my kids. And my kids are gone, and they'll call me, and it'll be good.
All right, so we're going to be talking about cultural differences. I talked about bullfighting. You talked about the gun laws in the UK. We have the live golfers who are catching a lot of crap because of all the...
what does LIV stand for? London Invitational?
I have no clue.
That's a weird...
I have no clue what the live golf thing is in Saudi Arabia, but a lot of people, and of course the U.S. Open's going on, starts today. Phil Mickelson, who's celebrating his 52nd birthday, will be part of that because the PGA... The 4 majors aren't sanctioned by the PGA, so even though he suspended them, they can still play, and it's probably best they're there. They're saying the worst thing could happen to the PGA right now is if Phil Mickelson...
Who's saying that? The PGA's not saying that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the PGA does not need to have someone from another tour come in and win their tour. Even though it's not sanctioned by the PGA, it's considered a PGA tour event because it's part of the 4 majors. You don't need someone going from outside coming in and winning our tour. It's like the Ryder Cup.
But they're not really the outside. I mean, only
they are now because they won't be long.
But why is that? I mean, I understand why it's bad politically, but it makes for great entertainment. Right?
Yeah, from a number standpoint, I mean, I think a lot of people will be watching this weekend just to see.
I'm gonna watch. I'm not a big golfer. I'm gonna watch for just that reason.
Yeah. But I mean, if it truly is a competitive type of thing, and it is because They are poaching some golfers from the PGA Tour who are no longer playing in the PGA because they've been suspended. It's in direct competition. So it's interesting because if Saudi Arabia didn't have all these human rights violations and these things that they do against their own,
no, but I mean,
and it was just another golf.
It would be a different there'd still be a conversation. There'd be a poaching our athletes thing, but it would be a different conversation.
So that's a cultural difference. It's cultural in China. I mentioned the fact when I had a child from Indian Springs stay with us over Thanksgiving a couple of years ago, and I was asking about over in China, and this was totally beyond my realm of understanding, but I was like, do you have any brothers and sisters? He's like, of course I don't. And I said, why? And he goes, because in China we're allowed to have one kid. I was like, oh, and I just totally, and I was like, well, when was the last time you talked to your dad? He said, a couple months ago. And I said, oh, you must miss him horribly. No, I'm good. We talk every couple of months. I'm like, you talk to your dad once every 2 months? And he's like, yeah. And I said, do you miss him? He's like, no, we're good.
Yeah. And it is, when you said it good, he is good.
Yeah.
Like, he is good. That's not a good, like, oh, there's something going on. We hosted we hosted one child as well, who actually turned out to be one of my son's dear friends in England. And I remember the same thing. He was 15 at the time, and he had he's living in Birmingham. He's from China. He'd been to 3 different places, talked to his parents here every few weeks, maybe. Went straight from Springs. He went to the UK, and I was like, where's your mom and dad? Like, what's going on? And it wasn't an abandonment thing.
No.
It's just we are a much more here. It's really interesting because we think of ourselves. I'm not trying to bash on us, but we think of ourselves as we're super independent. Yeah. Not really. No. We're pretty cleany. And we're the first ones that, if you think about the family unit,
yeah,
we're the first ones to, I'll be honest, to throw our elderly out.
Yeah.
We don't have them all living, right?
Yeah.
You got to go, oh, there's a home for you.
So we'll talk about this on Fox 6 in about 40 minutes with Janice and Dubs and Mickey and Toy and all the guys. It's interesting because I enjoy cultural differences. I've been outside this country several times, do Olympics and stuff like that. I really want to enjoy their culture, even if it makes me a little uncomfortable, as long as it doesn't.
Like eating haggis.
But when it offends
blood sausage, yes.
Yeah, when it's something that, moralistically speaking, you don't believe, like, for example, Saudi Arabia's human rights records, that's where, from a cultural standpoint, how do you deal with that? We'll talk about that.
The Russian players being banned from Wimbledon.
Yeah. So I found this interesting article, 7 unusual cultures from around the world. You want to hear them?
Yeah, it's going to have to do with food, orifices, and sex.
Actually, it has to do with a lot of bodies.
Yeah.
The Toraja people, Toraja people of Indonesia practice this absurd culture of putting a body in a temporary coffin before resurrecting it, called the Walking Dead. They do it every single year.
Nice.
The El Colacho baby jumping. Residents of Spain have been taking part in this dangerous and weird culture since 1620. El Colacho means baby jumping and is organized to keep the devils away. In this festival, infants are laid on the mattresses in the streets, and jumpers wear the traditional costumes to look like devils and jump over them.
By the way, can I just say this is...
They celebrate it, been going on for 600 years.
The running of the bulls. Yeah. That's another cultural one. That's just... Yeah. And there's always a bunch of Americans who always go over there and they get hurt.
The living dead, or living with the dead. Can you imagine yourself living with dead bodies? It's a common practice of some ethnic groups in Indonesia to wrap the deceased up in special garbs and keep it safe in the house while they live.
Well, wait. What do you mean while they live?
The bodies are dead, but the people live around them.
Well, we got urns.
These are the bodies. These aren't urns. They're not cremated.
Are they in coffins?
No, they just wrap the bodies up and they leave them in the house. It is believed the soul of their loved ones will preserve until burial. So they live with them until they get buried, which is usually a couple of months down the road. Hanging coffins. I saw this the other day. You can witness countless suspended artifacts and occult phenomena on the chillingly steep cliffs along the Yangtze River in China. This is crazy. They bury their family members and hang them over some cliffs after death. Coffins are generally hung 33 to 164 feet high, and some as high as 328 feet above the ground. It is still not known for sure how the coffins were placed at such great heights.
Yeah.
Records of hanging coffins dates back almost 2,000 years.
Dude, if you've been doing it for 2,000 years,
Yeah.
like you're okay. So you know.
Throwing babies.
Where do they do that?
It's a common practice for the people of this India town to toss newborn babies off from the terrace of a 50-foot tower. There are people at the foot of the tower holding sheets to catch the baby safely. It is believed this gives their child good luck, long and healthy lives.
And a lot of early childhood trauma.
It's been going on for 400 years.
Ah, see, again.
Could you imagine in this
What's the
throwing a baby off a 50-foot tower?
what's the miss rate?
It doesn't say.
You know, again, if it's been going on for 400 years or 1,000 years,
Yeah.
I mean, hell, we do circumcision, the Jews.
In Chinese culture, a husband should carry his bride over a pan of burning coals
Ouch.
before entering their home for the very first time.
Oh, we do that here.
This says a strange custom is performed to ensure she will have an easy and successful labor.
We do that. What?
I don't know.
We do coal walking here.
Yeah. And the morning of, and pardon me, Muslims, Muharram, Muharram. Every year, Muslims from around the world hold religious mourning ceremonies in the third Dashaya Iman to achieve martyrdom in the desert of Karbala. In 680 AD, in this date, a number of groups consisting of Muslims go out with whips attached with knives and blades and start beating them up unstoppably. The tradition has been passed over to their descendants.
Wait, start beating what up? What are they beating up?
It doesn't say. Anyway, my whole point is there's a lot of really bizarre cultures.
Well, circumcision. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah,
That's a cultural thing.
it is, and primarily for white individuals in the United States, we get circumcised, but a lot of African American people do not.
Well, it's all the way back to the Bible. They talk about the circumcisement. The Jews.
Yeah.
Do you know the origin? See, this is classic Kurre and Klapow. You're getting right here. This is quintessential classic Kurre and Klapow. Because we are talking about something that we absolutely, and we will tell you, we have no idea what we're talking about.
Really don't.
But it does dawn on me, I should know as a Jew.
Yeah.
I've seen a reference in the Bible. We talk about Jews have parties. Here's one for you.
Yeah.
I got one for you that we hear. It's called a bris.
Oh yeah.
The bris. Where else, and if I describe it for you, there is you've just described all of those. Okay, so I'm going to describe it in the same way. A baby is born. A baby is born to a Jewish family. And 8 days later, that baby is brought home, or is brought to a relative's house,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the family gathers around. And there is a special, he's called a moil, but like a shaman, who comes in with a knife. Okay? With a knife. And usually the father, although as of late it hasn't been the father, because the father's usually passing out, it's somebody else, holds the baby as the shaman circumcises the baby, i.e. cuts the foreskin off in front of all of the family. Mm-hmm. And then we say mazel tov, and we eat bagels and salmon.
With no anesthesia, right?
No, well, and again, I'm exaggerating a little bit,
Yeah.
because now it's actually, the baby's already kind of been circumcised, and there's just a little tiny little snip left. So it's a little more symbolic.
But still.
But it's there, and they put, it's wine. They put wine, I think they put wine in the pee-pee, and whatever. And yeah, okay, now is that, if I describe it, and then we celebrate and we eat bagels and lox.
There you go.
That's some crazy shit.
We'll talk about some cultures coming in about 30 minutes.
Can I bring that up on?
Yeah.
I can talk about my circumcision.
Yeah, we'll have 5 or 10
My
minutes.
circumcision, they couldn't find, the moil didn't bring his knife.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me they couldn't find your foreskin.
No, they had to use cuticle scissors on mine,
Well,
which
that
explains a lot of things.
It does explain a lot of things.
Cannot believe I just shared that.
For sure. All right, download the Tony Curry Radio app. Just go to your Apple or Android store, pull up TKR, and you can download the app and play classic rock. We have 10 different shows we do throughout the entire week. We're adding a couple more shows. Kip Kiefer's going to be coming on doing a want-to-bet show just in time for college football season coming up. He's also going to do another show he's going to do, and then, of course, go to Spotify and search Tony Curry Radio, and you can see hundreds of different podcasts, and we're super proud of those, and those things are just blowing the doors out big time, so check that out and get after it. Blues Almighty with Austin Hanks going on later on today from noon and 8. And again, if you listen to the app, you can check out all of our shows, first run shows, and then go to Spotify to listen to everything else. We'll be on Fox 6 talking about cultural differences in about 35 minutes. Thanks for watching the Kurre and Klapow show on Tony Kurre Radio.